Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Tracy, and if you don't know me, I have a passion for reviving secondhand clothing. I want to thank you guys so much for all of the support. I finally incorporated my business, so I'm officially an LLC. I love my job. I am so happy that this is what I do full-time. I love upcycling thrifted items and just sharing my knowledge with you guys on YouTube. I finally was able to finish creating one of the patterns. You can see it's like a lot of lines. Mostly math, but it wasn't too difficult. The first pattern I completely created in a small, medium, and large is the trendy corset pattern. By the time this video is uploaded, the PDF pattern should be available on my Etsy. For this week's video, I'm just upcycling a whole bunch of sweaters, and I just wanted to share with you guys how to make small adjustments to the pattern. As you can see, this is the knit top pattern. I added some decorative trim, and I also share with you guys how to add lace at the cups instead of the knit. So you can see these are both the same exact pattern, but you get a complete different look when you add lace and trim. I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial on how to adjust little details on a sewing pattern, and please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I start by taking my sweater, so I'm just using a pullover for this set, and I just start marking 7 3/4 above the hemline. That is how much I cut off, which is like perfect for the underbust of the pattern. But depending on your length, you can always shorten it or make it longer. Just make sure you have enough fabric for the pattern. I start cutting on that line, so just cut off the bottom portion of that sweater. You can also use a cardigan or a hoodie. Honestly, anything you want to thrift flip, it works just fine. Just make sure it's like a knit fabric and it stretches. Working with just the scrap you cut off, you're going to just place side seams right on top of each other so you have folds on the front and the back, and I just pin the hemline in place so it doesn't move. I take the sewing pattern, and don't forget to attach the back and the front together at those dots, and at the center front you're going to just go in 1/8 of an inch and fold, and that will be your new center line. So you're going to cut that on the fold, and you're just placing that at the front fold and lining up the bottom at the hem so you have like a right angle, and you just want to pin everything in place. I pinned it in place, but I like to use chalk to just chalk the outline just because it's easier when I cut out knits to just cut it out without the pattern there. Make sure to mark the cup notches and then just remove the pattern, and I like to pin layers together so nothing moves when I cut it out. And for this top, you can just keep the original hem, but if you don't want the hem, you can just like unstitch it and do a lettuce hem instead. And now all we have to sew is that center back seam, and you'll have your whole underbust band complete. I had leftover lace scraps and I was trying to figure out what to make with them, and I was like, wait, I can use this pattern. So I just take the cup pattern and line up that edge where it should be with like the hem of the sweater if you want your cups to not be sheer, or you can just use lace and line that up to the low point of the scallop like I'm doing. And I was just so happy I had enough lace to do this because I just was able to make a whole bunch of like sweaters and camis. Once the cup is pinned in place, I just take my rotary cutter and just cut one side out. And if you've seen me work with lace, I like to just cut one side out first and then find the mirror image on the lace. And once I find the mirrored image, I just pin it and then just cut it out. So after I have my mirror imaged cups, just make sure you mark your notches for the gathers. I was working on a custom order this week, so that's another silk bandana reversible top I made. And for the sewing part of this cami, I go in depth in the cardigan and cami set tutorial on how to sew it, so just follow those exact steps. I take the leftover scrap and I just cut out 1.5 inch strips as long as possible, just so I can use these as the binding and the straps on this cami. I end up with two 13-inch long pieces for the straps, and I just fold the right sides together and just overlock it, so I end up with like a 3/8 inch strap. You can also just use your regular sewing machine to make spaghetti. I turn them inside out and I end up with spaghetti, so I just attach that at the strap point and at the center backs, and the center back straps should be 7 inches apart. Before attaching the straps, just make sure you bind and finish the cami at the armhole. So I'm just taking the 1.5" strip and then just sewing a 1/4 inch, and then I'm doing that fold and fold, and then just doing that zigzag stitch on top to do the binding. And if you need an in-depth tutorial on how to bind with the fabric, you can just watch my lace cami tutorial. I show you how to do that with the velvet. The binding for this pattern should be about 21 inches, so it's a little bit shorter, just so it stretches to fit the top. Something else you can do with the sewing pattern, if you don't want lace cups and you still want something decorative, you can just cut out your cups normally, and at the finished edge of the cup, you can add some decorative elastic like I'm doing, or you can even use like some stretch lace and just sew it right on top because it'll stretch with the cup. And you just have to use the 3-step zigzag on your sewing machine. And since I'm working with different colored fabric and trim, I like to not see my thread on the other side. So my bobbin has black thread to match the decorative trim, and my top thread is beige, so it blends in with the knit fabric. When you're sewing that trim to the cup, you want to make sure you're just not stretching any of the layers, just because it will stretch when it's on the body because you want it to stretch together, so there's no need to stretch it now, if that makes sense. Just sew it normally and just don't pull on anything. And it's such a cute touch to the cups. And at the armhole I added picot elastic, but that's using like the turnover method to clean finish the armhole, which I show in the cardigan and cami video. And you can also add elastic straps and adjustable rings and slides for a decorative touch, or you could just use spaghetti, your choice. I just hemmed the sweaters. Here's like the whole thrift flip completion. Please tag me on Instagram, Transformations by Tracy. I would love to see your guys' upcycles with my sewing patterns. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching.